The whole spirit of this video is changing the way in which we approach activism, animal rights outreach, and related. So many times, often than not, when I watch outreachers or I watch vegan content creators, or I see activism, it's with the employing of this me versus you dynamic. What I'm saying is right, you are wrong. And underneath it, kind of like this imbuing of shame, inadequacy, ill intelligence that's imbued onto the other. I really think, and I'm going to say it, guys, that we've been doing it wrong. And the rest in the content of this video hopefully will be in spirit of showing you another approach. And I myself am a culprit of this as well. I've employed this. I've been doing outreach now for over a year pretty consistently. I don't think I've missed a Saturday or a single week since last December, and I've been doing it much before then as well. But I've noticed with myself that I've kind of done it wrong more than a few times, and I guess in the last few months I have actually indeed deleted some videos that I'm just not proud of, and the way I acted and the way I came off. We as activists, so many times, often than not, we get into this mode to where we're speaking from a place of authority, from the I'm right, you're wrong. I'm going to point out your fallacies. I'm going to show you the distortion in your kind of action and value spread with a very potent, intense energy. And you know, we're passionate. We are passionate. We are speaking up for the voiceless. They don't have a voice. Animals can't talk, and they need outreachers. Outreachers have to be here if we're actually going to change things for the animals. So, of course, us as outreachers, we have a certain palpable emotive energy when it comes to speaking up for them, our animal brother and sisters. And that is something that it's tough to get around sometimes because of the nature of things. On our watch, we're seeing billions and billions and billions of animals just get killed, cold, raped, kicked, spit on, laughed at. All the while, people don't bat an eye or choose to critically think about the implications of their actions. But I wanted to possibly present a new way of doing things as animal outreachers and a new perspective to possibly employ into our outreach. And that is orchestrating outreach and doing it in the spirit of partnership and compassion, and boycotting this idea of a debate, of a I'm right, you're wrong, of a kind of like ceremony of ego, of which all too often times than not, we find ourselves in, myself included. The ego is always there, you know, and sometimes when our temperature gets high, we kind of operate out of that instead of operating from a more sound place. We operate out of this me versus you dynamic, like it's mano y mano. There's a competitive aspect almost, but the me versus you underlies it. It's underlying it. Right off the bat, I'm going to point out a fact that I believe it has to do with this. The profit narratives want us to do this, and they want this kind of dynamic to unfold. And you may ask, why? Well, profit narratives, like the ones that control things as far as what we buy into, what we believe, and then what we act on. And the biggest one out there, the very biggest profit narrative that ever has been, is you need meat, cheese, milk, and eggs to be healthy. What this is division. Profit narratives love division. They need us separated. They need us divided. I know you guys have heard the term divide and conquer, right? So this is where that comes into play, divide and conquer. We separate the whole. We make them easily more manipulatable, easily more controllable, easily more doing of our bidding-able. And we do that, they do that by separating us, the prophet narratives. When we go out there with this whole kind of egoic me versus you posturing, we just separate ourselves from ourselves. When you have somebody come over to a conversation, and I'll just give you a bad example, and you have them come over, they have their trust in you, they're curious to what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you ask them a few questions, then completely flip on them and take their trust and just seemingly very predatorily put them to task and put them in a corner now in a place where they feel trapped in. This divides us. This dynamic divides us. And this is just one anecdote, one example of how the me versus you notion and dynamic it divides us. Because that person might be seemingly agreeing with you, might be seemingly nodding, might be saying, yeah, I'm going vegan now, but it's very almost 100% sure from a non-genuine place. When going through outreach and when starting outreach and when talking to people, we have to be authentic, truthful, genuine, and acting out of partnership and compassion, not out of ego in the me versus you, I'm right, you're wrong spirit. So I think the whole idea that it divides us is very strong to my point. Division is what they thrive off of. It's their lifeblood. And a new way of orchestrating outreach is to more so point to the prophet narratives and channel the anger there and put your arm around your fellow brother and sister in a figurative sense. Lead them through, your version of outreach, whatever that is. Ask them a few questions, get a few answers, build on a few things, lament a few things in your own way, and point up to the prophet narratives and channel the anger there, not at them. And I say this because to a large extent, it is not their fault. We've all been wounded by this biggest prophet narrative of all time for thousands of years. And it's been thousands of years, it's been compounding and forming a stronger inertia to where our brothers, sisters, parents, pastors, doctors, whatever, they're all thinking the same thing. They're all following the same orders. And they're telling everybody down below them, the next generation. So in effect, we can distill out that we are all wounded. We're wounded by prophet narratives. We're hurt. So what's the point of kicking somebody while they're down? I guess I'll ask you guys that. What's the point of kicking somebody while they are down? What good do you think that's going to manifest? What positive targeted effect, meaning saving more animals, for instance, do you think that's going to affect? I don't think it's going to affect much at all. I think, though, if we employ a new approach where we put our arm around our fellow brother and sister and we speak from partnership, compassion, and empathy, and we channel the anger at the different bad actors and entities that are trying to keep us divided so they can steal our sovereignties and keep us blind to the fact that it's not in our true nature to support the things that we support. I think that's a much better effect or a much better method. So I wanted to make this video to challenge my fellow animal rights activists to maybe use this perspective and start seeing a little bit more the hopeful wisdom that this perspective yields over the whole kind of OG approach. Now, I will say, animal rights activism is not easy. It is not easy. And it takes a certain individual to get out there, have the courage to get in front of people, get ready to be scrutinized, laughed at, shunned, all the above, you know, while you are speaking your truth and you're being a vessel and a voice for the voiceless. But I thought this was an important video to make. Hopefully, you guys, this made sense. Yeah, I think it's great on all fronts, and it's something that we should consider. I myself am not perfect. You'll see me when I'm out on the streets. My buttons get pressed. I may overdo a reaction, but I mean, we have to do outreach. We have to do outreach. You know, nobody's going to know if we're not doing outreach. And first and foremost, before I forget to mention it, you know, I've had people tell me, you know, you shouldn't do this. It's extreme. What's extreme is being silent when, you know, you have all these helpless little beings that don't have a voice, and the people don't know because they're not being outreached. And 99% of different messagings are all hail from, I'd say 99.999, all hail from different material, agendified, commercial motives that don't want people knowing any better because they want those profit streams a-flowing. And that's just the fact of the matter. So we have to outreach. So I just want to take this second to also mention I'm thankful for all the animal activists animal rights activists out there, and especially the ones that have inspired me. And I think we can take wisdom from everybody, and I think it's a very, very difficult hat to wear. And I just want to say that I respect you all and all that have been called to do animal rights activism, because we know there's no money in this. We know there's nothing monetarily there. This is a call of non-material means, almost a call of spirit, to stand up and defend the helpless, sentient individuals that don't have a voice. So maybe I'll end with that. But thanks for being with me out in the forest here, guys. Moving forward, you know, let me know in the comments what you think of this new kind of approach. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.